What is up, everyone, and welcome to Formula One 2020. This is a game which I love a lot. I wanted to do some recordings of this back in July, I think is when it came out. Couldn't figure out how to get my HD capture card sorted out on my PS4. Didn't want to drop another 60 quid to get the PC version, and also I was in a bit of an inconvenient spot to do with the whole like pandemic and everything. I feel like that pandemic excuse is going to age very poorly when we're in a post-pandemic society. But yeah, I thought I'd try something new. So we're going to be doing the championship mode, just because at this point I've already got a my team and a driver career on the go. But yeah, I've yet to do the actual F1 World Championship, so that's where we're going to be going. Now the matter of picking the team. Now hindsight is 2020, obviously, literally in this case, I suppose. And we know that there is one driver who isn't going to be getting a seat next year potentially, and probably should be. And so that's going to be the storyline for this particular series. It's going to be Sergio Perez fighting to keep his seat in Formula One. So yeah, we're just gonna quickly sort all this stuff out. I'm gonna set one shot qualifying, I think, and then we'll do 25% race distance. No practice or anything like that. We'll keep formation that off. We'll turn up the AI driver level just a tiny bit. I usually play at 86 when I play in career mode and stuff like that. I think probably the reason I had it down at 20 was for one of those podium pass things that was like, beat this on easy difficulty. So I was like, yeah, go off, I guess. Yeah, so this is pretty much it. Everything else that I've got turned on probably deserves to be on. It would probably be racing line corners and then most other assists, because I'm just not very good at this game, honestly. It was only recently I even turned off racing line to begin with, like the like on the straights. But yeah, still got corners on. So anyway, let's get going into the Formula One World Championship. And round number one, we've got one shot qualifying. I'm just actually going to check real quick that I do have. That's the wrong thing. Yeah, gearbox automatic. I was a bit worried because sometimes I do play with manual gears, but I'm not very good when I play with manual gears. Definitely not 86 level when I play with manual gears. So I was a bit concerned. So yeah, Australian Grand Prix. First up, we got one shot qualifying. I do have setups that I've made for most of the tracks at this point. Hopefully by the time we get to Monaco, I'll have made more for tracks beyond Monaco, because so far I've got them in my like career modes for up till Monaco. Because I only started making setups when I entered season 2 of my team playthrough, and I'm currently in Monaco season 2. So here we are, Sergio Perez, and yeah, one shot qualifying. We're gonna load my Australia dry setup because the weather is dry and it appears it's gonna stay that way. It's gonna be a bit iffy in the race, but I think I should be able to scrape through with a dry setup, hopefully, maybe. Let's hit the track for qualifying. So I am live commentating this, so hopefully it doesn't go terribly wrong, but yeah. Already losing a bit of time to Hamilton. Sector 1 is usually my my strong sector here. I will endeavour to play without flashbacks, even though I have them turned on. Sometimes when I'm playing in my team mode, I do occasionally drop the old flashback, but I do 100% distance races in that game, or in that mode, I should say, which is why I usually will use 1 or 2 flashbacks, just in case I make like a big mistake on like lap. Let's say it was Australia, like I make it on like lap 49, and like I don't feel like I deserve to lose the whole thing because of that. So we're currently running in 4th on this qualifying session. It's not bad given that I haven't played Australia in like a couple months at this point. I didn't do any practice coming into this. And we know that the AI are usually quite strong in qualifying as well. So apparently I'm still P4, but I am miles down the road from Lewis Hamilton. And in the end, in qualifying, we get 4th. Okay, so it was true. I find that interesting, honestly, because I would feel like it would probably be 5th. Ah, look! Would you look at that? VIP podium pass. Got the result. 129. That's a piss take, man. That's really easy. Even for someone of my relatively low skill level. See, I say relatively low, but then I do play on expert.
It's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Hamilton, Bottas, and Max Verstappen. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So yeah, we got our grid lineup. I forgot, of course, because when I started my team playthrough, Ferrari were kind of OP'd in that, so I kind of forget that they're not anymore. So yeah, it makes sense now I look at it. Quite logical. I guess out-qualifying Albon is not the biggest surprise in the world, given that I think he's been nerfed since then. Yeah, and everyone else is about where you'd expect them to be, I think. Maybe Vettel did a bit too well, and Gasly I don't think did as well as he would do in reality. But, you know, we do move onto the race in Australia. This is typically one of my weaker tracks. I always get really angry when I start a playthrough of this game because I always start out on a track that I'm not typically as good on. It's like this in Spain and Monaco, Hungary, Singapore are usually my weakest tracks of the bunch, and also Silverstone, funnily enough, even though you'd think that would probably be a stronger one for the player.
Welcome to the 2020 Formula One World Championship. Here we are at the first race in what should be another thrilling season. I think the action this year will be very, very close. But as always with F1, you can never be too sure. Anyway, let's get started. We're a stone's throw from the enormous Port Phillip Bay for today's race at the 3.3-mile Albert Park circuit. It's a bumpy racing surface here, and the 16 corners could prove especially difficult in the wet conditions. Watch out for a safety car at some point during the Grand Prix. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us, Ant. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Norris, Stroll, Sainz, and Charles Leclerc, Vettel, Fiat, Esteban Ocon, and Gasly, Grosjean, Magnussen, George Russell, and Kimi Raikkonen. Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright, so I was correct about it raining. Although interestingly enough, starting on dries, so it can't be that heavy rain, I guess. Is everyone around me starting on dries as well? Can I get a look over? Don't think so. That's going to be interesting. Going to be an interesting strategy for sure. Looks like it's a simple one stop. Usually is in this. Usually is in 25% distance races. So yeah, I guess we're starting on dries. But so is everyone else. I don't have manual starts turned on, so this could be bad actually. Let's see. How was my start? Oh, I actually get away really well. That's what assisted starts does for you. I think I should have Hamilton here. Oh, and Bottas goes very deep to defend the position, and it's Perez into P1. I may have to turn up the difficulty a tad. I swear though, in my team, like 86% or 86 difficulty, I'm usually like, you know, I'm winning a couple races, maybe like 3 or 4 per season. Yellow flag, that seems to be cleared now. Hopefully the 86% will, if anything, if nothing else, it'll cover my not so good. Like, I usually make a few mistakes.
That's what we like to see at the start. Well done.
So we're up into P1, but Bottas is already closing me down again. Like, he just had an atrocious start, and now he's going to come straight back at me by the looks of things. I need to be careful with that outside wall of this corner here, because I tapped it in qualifying, and I've tapped it in lap 1 here again. And, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm on sim damage. If I'm not, then I will change that for next race, because I usually do run on sim damage. I usually run strict corner cutting, just to kind of negate the fact that I'm running with so many assists. I feel like if I'm going to make a mistake, I deserve to be punished for it, because making mistakes is less likely. So yeah, we're away. We're doing pretty well. We've not quite broken the DRS, although I'm not sure, is the DRS enabled in a like weather situation like this? Because I'm on dries, but like, where's the crossover? I know that typically I do perform a little bit better in wet weather than the AI. My first win when I played my team career mode, I think that was back when I used to play on 85 instead of 86, which isn't too huge a difference, but it makes a difference. My first win came in China, which is definitely as the YouTuber TM Marduk says, it's a track that favors the player. And in wet weather, which also in this game favors the player. In F1 2019 it was atrocious. You lost like a second per lap to the AI in wet weather. Yeah, that was when my first win came in Season 1, when we were still like only like the 8th or 9th best car on the grid. But you know, I took a gamble on tyre strategy. I think I ended up stopping one less time than most other drivers, and that just enabled me to kind of get away with the lead. I think I ended up winning it by like 15-20 seconds in the end. Nearly won it again in Zandvoort in the very next race, but no such luck. I think Verstappen ended up winning that one. Anyway, it was a long time ago. It was like July, back when I had the time to do 100% distance races. So Alexander Albon's the first retirement from this session. The Mercedes behind are lapping slightly faster. DRS has just been enabled. They won't have it here, even though Bottas is within tolerance, but in the next DRS zone he will be having it. So ideally I'd like to break from the DRS range before we get to that point. Like I said, typically Sector 1 I'm better than the AI, but then in the final 2 sectors I think they usually close me down. I'm amazed that DRS has been enabled when like I can still visibly see rain coming down. It doesn't look like I've managed to break the DRS range unless I get a really nice run out of this corner, which I haven't. So yeah, they're going to close me down slightly, and it's probably, yeah, they're definitely getting DRS here. So this is the phase of the race where Bottas is going to start mounting a real challenge. Let's just have a look at tyre life. Yeah, it's still doing alright. We've got fuel. Yeah, I've still got loads of fuel. I should probably run in rich a bit at some point. I don't have fuel, I don't have auto fuel management turned on. I do that bit manually. But stuff like ERS is all done automatically for assists.
We'll be running on a dry track soon. Back to dry shortly.
So yeah, as Jeff says, we're going onto dry soon, or onto dry track. See, I don't really get what the point in him saying that is, because like the track has been like dry weather tyres the whole time, so I don't really get what the significance of being like, oh, soon you will be in dry weather. Like, yeah, there might be a bit more grip. The corners might not feel so heavy to like go around, because the laps are definitely slower than they would be if you were doing dry running. Took a bit of an atrocious exit from that last corner there. Like obviously it's a bit slower and the car feels very heavy around the corners. But you know, I'm not like afraid that any second now I could just like fly off the track or anything like that. Like honestly, I'm just vibing at this point. But Bottas is, you know, I'm lapping at a similar pace to him, but I do need to pump in some good laps. Purple sector there, that's going to do me a world of good, and a pretty good run through that corner as well. He's still closing me down though, definitely with the DRS. I would like to break that if I want to win this race. Basically, this was a race of, I qualified all right, got a great start because I had assisted starts turned on. Ran a bit wide through that corner, that's going to lose me some time. But yeah, if I win this race, I feel like it would be very undeserved. So yeah, I was running in Rich for that lap and he still closed me down, so... I don't know. I'll try running in Rich again later, maybe when the track is a little bit less... like, when it's got a bit more sort of grip to it and the corners don't feel so heavy. He's closing me down now, and I feel like if I lose out to one of them, I'm losing out to all of them. And if Albon was part of the train, I would probably lose out to him as well. Had a pretty atrocious exit from that corner, but still went purple. I don't know if that purple stayed. Probably just because I'm the first person going through a lot of these, and the track is ramping up and ramping up. I think through this next DRS zone I'm going to be under a lot of pressure from Bottas behind. We'll see. Yeah, he's going to close me down massively. I'll defend around the outside, force him to go to the inside. Wasn't brave enough to take it, didn't think he would be. He might get me on the DRS here. And like I said, I feel like if I fall to one, I fall into all of them. I should probably still be able to get fourth regardless of what happens. I don't feel like Ricciardo is going to catch me unless I make a big mistake. So yeah, fastest lap instantly beaten by everyone behind me. Makes sense. They're faster cars. They've also got DRS, all of them. And no, there isn't a third thing. They're faster cars and they've got DRS. I don't know what else you could factor into it. They're better drivers, maybe. Okay, much better line through this corner this time. You'd feel like playing with racing line on. I'd actually be alright at taking driving lines. That should have been a corner cut. I don't know how I managed to get away with that. And I swear they are on incredibly... they're on like the strictest they can be. So I don't know what happened there. Feels like I'm pulling away a little bit now. I don't know if that's because we're getting back to dry running or what. If I win this race, I'll probably bump up the difficulty by another point just to make this series a bit more fun. I don't want to be running away with races. I don't feel like it's out of the question that Sergio Perez could hold off Valtteri Bottas. Obviously, in the Turkish Grand Prix, it was a much different story. Valtteri Bottas was nowhere, and Sergio Perez was everywhere.
Right, some information on Hamilton. They have some kind of mechanical problem.
Hamilton might be losing out to Verstappen at some point soon if it's an engine problem. Yeah, you can see he's dropping back quite dramatically. I think Verstappen might be able to get him. So we got our pit stop coming up. Bottas is very close, but the gap between him and Hamilton has increased now. So even if he does overtake me, I should be able to hold on to second. If Hamilton can keep holding up Verstappen, that would be like perfect. Because Bottas might break the DRS from Hamilton, and then from there, if Bottas does overtake me, which I have a feeling he might even honestly undercut me in the pit stop. I feel like on 25%, most people will be pitting on the same lap. But I don't really know. But depending on how the pit stop goes, like if I have a particularly poor pit stop and he has like quite a good pit stop, that could be him just getting ahead of me right there, and then he could just jump me in the pit lane, honestly. he's broken the DRS to Hamilton now, which means Hamilton should be very susceptible to Verstappen. But you know, hopefully it's no biggie. Esteban Ocon out of the session, unfortunate for him. So yeah, we go into the pits, and actually Bottas is the one to stay out, and Hamilton's the one to come in. Very interesting decision from the Mercedes strategist, James Vowles. Not sure what you're doing there. So yeah, onto the medium tyres. 3 seconds. It's all right. We keep Hamilton behind, but Bottas might get the overcut. I have a feeling actually. It won't be completely out of the question. So we come out in 6th, behind a few cars who have yet to pit. What is really important there is that I did stay ahead of Magnussen. That's probably like the ideal scenario here, is I stayed ahead of Magnussen, because now I'm not in like a load of traffic. I doubt I'm going to catch up 5 seconds on Sebastian Vettel in front, even if I am a faster car on fresher tyres. I should probably put my fuel mix up. That's one thing I'm really bad at, is remembering to change fuel mix back. I say that, I am actually catching Vettel quite quickly. I think I should be alright, because I think he will pit at the end of this lap. He starts on soft tyres. I'm not too concerned. So yeah, hopefully, even if Bottas does get the overcut, which he might, because he's running in clean air, which means I'm not like I'm not impeding him anymore. Hopefully I'll come out within a second behind him, so I can instantly get the DRS back off. And then hopefully stay with him, basically, would be the ideal. I think I should be able to get him, given that he's had DRS and he hasn't been able to overtake me. I get the impression that there is a good chance I may still be able to keep up with him. So let's see, he's in the pits now. And ooh, very close. But yeah, I just stay in front of him. I actually think I made up some time on him in the pit stop there, by the looks of things. So yeah, now we're really flying. The weather doesn't seem to be affecting me much. He's not within DRS.
Boxed for the mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre. The gap to the car behind is 1.7 seconds.
I want to find out how Lance is doing, what position he's in.
Gap to teammate behind is 12.0 seconds. They're on fresh hards. They're in 8th.
He boxed for hards. Interesting strategy call there at Stroll's pit wall, but you know, he's in 8th position, and I believe he qualified 9th, so he's made up a spot. I think I'm actually losing Bottas now a little bit. I definitely the way I'm going to do this series, I think, is if I win, I will bump things up a difficulty point, and then if I come like below 7th, I'll bump things down a difficulty point. Actually no, not 7th. We'll say if I finish outside of the points, I'll bump things down a difficulty point. And then if I finish between 2nd and 10th, then I will keep things as is for the next race. The way I usually do things in my team career mode is I'll do whenever I win a rivalry, I bump it up, and then whenever I lose a rivalry, I bump it down. And I started on like, I want to say I started on like 84, 85 maybe. Yeah, I seem to have gotten worse over time, or maybe they've changed the way that the difficulty works, because the first of the modern F1 games with this kind of difficulty scale I played was 2018, and I used to play on like 92 difficulty in that, and even that, like, I was winning a lot. Me and Nico Hulkenberg in the Renault were tearing things up. But yeah, and then in 2019 I was absolutely nowhere. I was playing on like 75, and even that was like really hard. I could barely win races, even when I had the fastest car. So yeah, this game's like a nice middle ground between both, I think. So I don't know if I just lost a load of skill in between 2018 and 19, or whether they like legitimately made the games a bit harder. Bottas has gained a bit of ground on me. 5 laps to go. I feel like I can probably keep him at bay. He might go for like maybe a last lap lunge. Although, if you remember Bahrain 2018, I believe it was. I don't rate his chances. I believe it was 2018 when Vettel was on absolutely no tyres. Basically, he'd been running on softs for like over half the race. Bottas was on fresh tyres and right behind him and just couldn't make the move happen. I think that's when everyone realised that Bottas was a tad useless. I do like him as a personality, but yeah, driving skills maybe not completely up to scratch. Keeping him behind, still just running in standard fuel mix. I think this may be a clean W, but I don't want to call anything too soon. A safety car could really throw a spanner in the works here. If someone goes out, then Bottas will close right up onto the back of me. And granted, if it comes out now, it'll probably be here until lap 14, maybe 13, if they can get the incident cleared quickly. So Bottas will only have 1 or 2 laps. Made up some time over him on that lap. That was pretty good. I think on the last couple of laps I might knock things up into Rich, try and go for a fastest lap, get that 26 point. I actually do have the fastest lap at the moment, but I'm not convinced that's going to stick. Is Verstappen going to get past Hamilton? Actually on purple pace again. That's pretty good. I really want Verstappen to get Hamilton here. I feel like that's a battle that's been going on all race, and I feel like Verstappen has been cost any shot of second or first by Hamilton's issue. Nice line through there, still ahead of my best. Could be another fastest lap here, honestly. I'm not even pushing that hard, honestly. Like I'm not like driving conservatively or anything like that. But if we take a look at the tire wear, it doesn't seem like I really need to. Looks like things are going pretty much as well as I'd want them to go. Made a few mistakes in sector 3 there. Didn't end up getting a new fastest lap. Bottas still 2.3 seconds behind. Basically, just as long as I don't accidentally run off track here, as long as I do good consistent driving for 3 more laps, I think everything should be fine. Things did get a bit dicey towards the end of that first stint, but ever since I got onto the mediums, I've just been loving life, honestly.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
Fuel is probably fine. I think lap 14, I'm gonna do my fastest lap attempt. Verstappen's got past Hamilton and he's already made up 2 seconds on him. I didn't notice that beforehand, but yeah, that wasn't even difficult for him, really. Decent corner there. Things going pretty well. 2 more laps. Bottas has made some time up on me again. I wonder if Hamilton might. I don't think his issue is that bad that he'll fall back into the clutches of Ricciardo. Ricciardo driving a pretty good race as well, up in 5th. I guess with Albon's retirement though, there isn't. It's basically him just being best of the rest, other than Sergio Perez. I didn't change my fuel mix. I guess we're doing a last lap attempt then. I just completely zoned out of that. But yeah, this race has been really good actually. I was a bit worried I might make a mistake because I do often make mistakes. I feel like I might be driving a bit safer just because I know there's no flashbacks here. Although that never stopped me when I was in league racing. I was in an assist league with AOR back in, I think it was 2018. I think it was the first season they ran in 2018. I think I competed in 7 races and DNF'd in every single one due to either
This is your final lap.
internet
Final lap of the
issues
race.
or like I just crashed. I was running really well in Australia. I think my first ever online league race, I was in like 5th, and then into the start of sector 3 I just completely bottled it. Like I took a bit too wide an exit from I'll show exactly where I'm talking about when I get to it, but essentially I took a bit too wide an exit, I got a massive tank slapper on and just hit the other wall. Like it was not
There's
fun.
only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
I don't know if you guys would be interested in me perhaps doing some league racing. I could record the, I think they do 50% distance races in those, so those might be slightly longer videos.
We'll be back on target
I probably
soon.
wouldn't record qualifying, so it's right there.
Engine now.
Right there I just dropped things completely. Went too wide. I think I dipped a wheel in the grass maybe, and yeah, from there it was just game over. So yeah, it should be 26 points here, and then we'll turn up the difficulty before the next race to ensure that there is no shenanigans. If I win in Bahrain, obviously the difficulty going up again. So yeah, take the checkered flag, fastest lap, 26 points.
Nice work. That's P1. Race win. Well done.
Very happy with that, you know. Obviously it's hard to say whether I deserved, you know, in terms of my skill level.
Another superb Australian Grand Prix comes to an end, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
The Racing Point team will be very happy with today's performance and the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork, and a well-deserved first-place finish.
What a lovely celebration up there with, I believe that is their depiction of Otmar Safnauer. Good race from me, good race from Sergio Perez. Nice to hear the Mexican national anthem. Sergio Perez bagging, of course, his first win in Formula One.
Let's have a
Been on the
look
podium
then
a
at
few
the
times.
drivers' standings. Sergio Perez takes the position of points leader in the Drivers' Championship. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day? It's time to check out the Constructors' Standings.
Okay.
Mercedes move to the top of the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, interesting there from Anthony Davidson. Apparently no one stood out to him. I guess it's not hard to see why. Charles Leclerc making up 3 places, Gasly making up 3, Magnussen and Russell made up 3. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, when you consider that Ocon and Albon retired, with Albon being fairly close to the front, I feel like no one really did anything that impressive in terms of making up lots of places. Either me or Leclerc probably were the most standout. Me being Perez, of course. Valtteri Bottas actually snatches fastest lap from me at the very end of the race, which is, you know, whatever. Only 1 point. I guess that's a 2-point closing though, because it would have been 8 points I beat him by. Instead, it's only 6. So yeah, take that, fastest lap point haters. makes the championship a bit more interesting potentially. Have a look at the standings. Obviously I go to the top, and then constructor standings, BWT Racing Point, repping, only 2 points off Mercedes, maybe with a few more stand-up performances from Lance Stroll, who isn't just a pay driver. You know, anything could happen. We'll take a quick look at the highlights. How about that? So yeah, mega start there. Straight ahead of Hamilton and Verstappen. Bottas goes just way too deep trying to defend the position and loses out completely. Honestly, it's amazing that he didn't get taken by Hamilton there. So yeah, I'm guessing the rest of these is just going to be me doing driving. Fairly standard stuff. Perhaps there'll be one of me overtaking Bottas from the pit lane. I don't really know. This could be like a fastest lap or something like that. This was when it was still raining though, so I'm not quite sure. That's me coming out of turn 2. Yeah, not much to be said to do with the highlights if I stay in P1 for the whole race. It's me out of turn 2 again. I'm not really sure what this is meant to be a highlight of. I guess just the pure top speed of the pink Mercedes, the Racing Point, Tracing Point as some call it. I don't know. I like the team, even if it is similar to the 2019 Mercedes. I still think Perez and Stroll are two quite cool drivers. That looked like a corner cut. And you can see just at this point Bottas was nowhere near. Didn't even show me overtaking him from the pit lane. I guess I really did do absolutely zero on-track overtaking after turn 1. Hopefully things will change for the next video. You know, I didn't come into this series hoping to just absolutely shit stomp every single race. The plan was that I would, you know, I would make some heads roll by doing some overtaking on the track. And with qualifying being as hard as it is in this game, I feel like, you know, bumping up the difficulty going forward, I should be able to hopefully qualify. It sounds weird, but to qualify slightly further down the field, with the hopes that I can then like move further up the field by doing lots of on-track overtaking. I feel like this was a weird one because I got such a good start and then I was just able to keep these 3 guys behind, but it would be much nicer to have a battle with this collection of drivers in the middle here, just through, like, I don't know really, I guess, like, the fact that I feel like the Mercedes and Red Bulls, if I don't overtake them right at the beginning, will get like away and then I won't even be able to like catch them basically, and it'll be much more satisfying to have a battle for like P5, P6, because the gold goal for this championship is 7th for Sergio Perez, I believe, which feels very achievable. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next F1 2020 video when we'll be heading to Bahrain Sakir circuit, one of my personal favourites. I can't wait, and I hope to see you there.